Hey,
everybody.
you're not Patrick Kling.
I'm not. I have much shorter hair.
You're and you're half the man he is.
How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you? How was your weekend?
Unfortunately productive.
Oh, I hate those.
Yeah. How was yours?
Fortunately unproductive. No, as I mentioned before, I mean, I'm going to do a little plug here. I was working on assembling the coursework for my Introduction to Sound and Music for Themed Entertainment class that you can all sign up for on TEDS, the Essential Art Department website,
Very cool. That'll be awesome.
starting on May 28th.
All right. That's coming up. Geez, that's only a
Yeah.
few weeks away.
19 days, as the countdown on the website tells me.
Ooh, the suspense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we have some exciting theme park news today with out of Florida.
Yeah. All right. So this is only recently applicable to me now, just because of the fact that I just got an annual pass.
Right. That's why I wanted to have you on to talk about it.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's the only reason I'm here.
That's the only reason.
Good to know.
Because you're otherwise far too handsome to be on the show.
Well, I appreciate that. So even just, this was announced about, 2 hours ago. So just looking at see just kind of the quick rundown, and I'm sure more details are going to be coming out about it, over the next weeks or months, I guess, rather, because these are changes that are not going in effect until after January 9th of 24. So the highlights of it are basically like we got Disney dining plans are finally coming back, which I think after May 23rd, so this month, those can start being added to vacation reservations. And then I guess the early magic hours are going to be available like every day for all 4 parks. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. And if you stay at because I think it was like, 1 or 2 and it just kind of rotated.
Yeah.
And then for deluxe hotels, they'll also have like evening magic hours as well. And then, there's a thing that they're calling good to go days.
Yeah. Good to go.
For annual
pass holders.
Yeah. Kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, already they've rolled out the, you don't need a reservation after 2 p.m.
That was the reason why I got a pass.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't see me at any of those parks before 2 p.m., unless I was on vacation with like family or friends or something.
Totally fair. And then also, I guess, like if you have a date-based ticket, so really if you're anybody other than a cast member or an AP, you don't need to do a park reservation anymore. Again, starting 24.
I saw, the YouTube video maker, Defunctland, Kevin Perjurer. Yeah. What a last name that is. I mean, I thought I had a weird last name, but Perjurer is like, it's a doozy. Anyway, he had an interesting tweet that he brought up. He said, if there's a recession coming if Disney does discounts and brings back the dining plan. And he's like, oh no.
A very astute observation, I'm sure.
Very astute. Anyway,
Jeez.
Well, I think that's good.
The last thing, though, that's really interesting that actually could be really different, because this is like all this stuff is pretty much just a return to form from before the pandemic. But the other thing that's on this list is apparently somehow Genie Plus is going to be more simple to plan.
And you can plan like the lightning lane in advance, apparently, or something.
Yeah, something like before the day of. It's not just a purchase, from that morning or whatever.
Yeah.
So see what that means.
Yeah, interesting stuff. As much as I loved my having an annual pass for the Disneyland Resort for 30 plus years, I think that with the current climate and the way that people are experiencing the resort now, I think it would be a disaster to lift the reservation requirements for Anaheim, though, because the parks would just be overrun by people because there's just not as much to absorb like you have in Florida.
Oh, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. But again, we'll see what it all means. Any more announcements in the next few months. But it's nice to know this, I guess 7 months ahead of time.
Well, let's get on with the show. Thank you for joining me for the news, and get back to the basement and produce the show.
Banished to the wings I go.
All right, let's bring on our guests from Alcorn-McBride, Lauren Barrows and Scott Harkless.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's truly my pleasure. I'm so excited to talk about you guys and Alcorn-McBride and the storied and illustrious history of that companies, and all of that stuff. Like, I love having big broad topics shows like this where your experience in the company's presence in the industry is so broad. Basically every theme park in the world is running Alcorn-McBride hardware essentially, or has at one point. So I think that our audience is very familiar with your hardware and software. So I'm excited to get into it and talk about the history and the capabilities and the future of what you guys are doing over there, and not just in the Tiki Bar, but like with the company too.
It's a hot spot.
Yeah.
Next time I go to Florida, I definitely want to check it out.
Absolutely. Come on in.
Well, let's start by introducing yourselves, and then we can talk about Alcorn.
Sure. Hello, I'm Lauren Barrows with Alcorn, obviously. I've been here for 14 years. I started as a marketing coordinator, and over the years, I'm grown into the COO. And this is my partner in crime. Scott.
Hey, it's Scott Harkless. I'm going on my 21st year.
Yeah.
Wow.
2021.
He started when he was 4.
I was just a kid when I started this place, just fresh out of college, electronic engineer, and just found that I had a passion for working with the customers in the field and doing a lot of that stuff. And that got me to pretty much leading our customer interaction in our product development direction. So
yeah, his official title is Chief Innovation Officer. And that
I love
applies
that.
to our products and everything that has to do with our company, including this awesome Tiki Bar.
there you go.
It's nice to be an executive at a company where you're just like, you know what? The next project is our Tiki Bar. Well, that's great. I mean, let's talk a little bit. Let's start out talking about like the history of Alcorn-McBride. As I showed you, I mean, I know the story. I have this excellent book, Building a Better Mouse by Steve Alcorn and David Green. An excellent book if you are a theme park history nerd like I am. It's a really great inside look as to how some of these still operating attractions were developed from nothing, from technologies that didn't exist that now, we depend on, day to day in our business.
Yeah. It's interesting. Basically, the company was founded because there's a lot more to this story, but for the sake of this show and brevity, basically Steve's involvement with Epcot and the construction of Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
So coming over here back in those days, Disney did a lot themselves when it came to electronics design, control system design, and so Steve was part of those teams, mostly focusing on American Adventure. There's a lot of custom control systems behind the way that works, and so that's really what got our roots here. And then before long, Steve started to realize that there were certain things that they were engineering almost over and over again, and that if only somebody came up with this kind of off-the-shelf product, that they could just package it up and put 10 of them on a shelf in a box, and the next time a project came around, they'd be like, let's just use one of those things. And so that was the birth of our V16 show control system. So at the time, it was basically a Laserdisc synchronization device. If anybody knows what Laserdiscs are.
I do.
Yeah. So, but it very quickly evolved into being kind of an industry standard show control system, as we refer to it now. So lots behind that. So yeah, thanks for queuing up.
There's the original bin loops when they were actually a bin that the loops would go into.
Yeah, that's very apt term. So if anybody doesn't know what this is Epcot Central. Way back in the day, these little things that look like washing machines or dishwashers are basically analog tape players. They're playing back audio tracks for the entire park. Massive things. So we had nothing to do with those things. We did not create them. However, we did eventually replace them with their digital equivalents. So just a kind of a little cool historical thing. So you actually used to be able to go down and see these in a tour in Epcot. I think I've got a picture of that in there. But
Yeah, we launched the digital bin loop, obviously off that system.
I don't think I've worked on a single project in a theme park that didn't have a bin loop or even a themed experience. I mean, what was funny is that I was the only person on site when we did the high roller in Las Vegas that actually knew how to operate them. Like when we opened up the floor, I'm like, oh, it's a bin loop. Thank God.
Yeah, I know this. I know what to do.
Yeah, it's like Jurassic Park. I know this. It's a Unix system.
But yeah, just a great example of how we got our start. Because of Steve's connections and how he directly worked for Disney, they really helped him to know the people involved and what they needed and the things that they needed to improve, replace, design. And so that was kind of our genesis, creating show control systems, creating these digital audio video playback platforms that we could use as off-the-shelf products to run these kind of really weird things that we were doing in themed attractions. So
yeah, and the 80s and early 90s were sort of the golden age of hardware in terms of technology. Now everything's software and cloud-based and everything, but people don't realize that modern society was built on exactly what we see on the screen right now, is all these solid state electronics,
Yep.
that ran everything and
Yep.
often still do.
They still do. They just got a lot smaller now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all of the processing power of all of the, hardware that was installed in theme parks in, 1980 to 1990 is probably, fits on my phone right now,
Yep, exactly. How
Amazing.
How technology changes, yeah.
What is that picture? That back up one picture. I couldn't figure out what that last one was at Earthquake. Where is that?
You got any guesses, Andy?
Is that the valve for the water?
You got it, man. That is it.
That was my guess.
That is the ginormous valve that used to open up and just dump water on you.
Okay.
On Earthquake.
With the light and the audio directly above it. No big deal.
Yep. Yeah, in the early days of the company, we used to do a lot of consulting and things like that. We started building up the product portfolio, but we still did a lot of custom installation and consulting. So that's how we got involved in a lot of these things.
Mm.
So.
Wow. So as the company grew, was the goal to provide the hardware and software together, or how did that sort of evolve? Where you had the hardware that ran basic software just enough to get it to work, but as computing power improved and you were able to move things into the software realm, how did you make that leap? Or was there one product that sort of led that way?
Yeah, it's a good question. The industry is really unique as far as its requirements for things like precise synchronization and kind of like cutting edge quality. And so the hardware basically is necessary to achieve some of those things, because you can't just run everything, especially that top notch like quality stuff, off of a software program on a computer. It just won't work. So there's that hardware development aspect to bring those capabilities and those advanced features, but also the reliability that we need for this industry. Because the way we design stuff, it's almost like your toaster or your microwave. It's an embedded platform running firmware that is designed for one very specific purpose, and it does that purpose very well. So there's kind of that aspect to it too. And obviously, we do a lot of software development. Everything that's running on these things is some form of software or firmware, as we would call it. But we also have to present people a nice, slick front end that they can use to actually develop and program these things. So it's definitely a happy merger of both of those things working together. So.
Well, then, once you get to that point, and what are the typical issues that you face when you're implementing a brand new system into the Alcorn system?
Typical issues.
You don't have any issues.
No, everything goes perfectly well.
Everything's perfect. Great.
Rev A works perfectly every time. No, typical issues. A lot of times we're designing things that have never been made before. So there's no Google this to see how do I build one of these. It doesn't exist.
There's a YouTube video for everything.
There's not a YouTube video for how to do some of the stuff we do. So yeah, it's that learning curve. We're doing, early on in our product development, we're doing a lot of proof of concept. Taking 5 circuit boards or development kits, putting them together to make them do the thing that we need our customers to develop for our customers. We get it working, then we pack it onto a circuit board, and maybe that first circuit board needs about 20 wires soldered to it before it actually works. But that's how these things go.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, this is our process. So yeah, it's just that, and then there's the customer side of it. We have to make sure that we spend all this time. It's expensive to develop hardware like this. We're a small company. So we have to make sure that when we build something, people are actually going to buy it. So there's that that kind of challenge in trying to keep things not like top secret. We're not that kind of company, but keep things a little bit on the down low while also communicating with our core customers to make sure that we're building something that they want, giving them an opportunity to provide direction and feedback as we're developing it, so that when we actually get to launch the thing, it's not a dud right out of the gate. It's actually something that they want and that they're excited about. That's always
because they've helped design it too.
Exactly, they helped design it. Maybe there's some Easter eggs in there for them. You don't know. So
that dovetails perfectly into my next question. Is like, what are the levels of support that you offer to your end users, of the products?
Well, that's something that's very important to all of us here. I think a popular national food chain kind of adopted our mentality of once you're here, you're family, which means, once you have an Alcorn product, we're here to support you however we can. We don't charge for support. We have our pretty much our entire team has an engineering background. There's very few people who don't. And we've always had this very flat philosophy of, you have trouble with anything that you have for an Alcorn product, or even if it's, something that we're interfacing with, that we have the knowledge and that we can help you, just call us, email us, Facebook us. We're happy to help. We also have training that we do here. Whatever we can do to make your job easier in the field, that's what we're here for.
Let's talk about
I'm sure you can relate to this, Andy, but it's a small industry when it comes to people. Yeah. You cannot afford to tell somebody, sorry about your luck, sorry that thing's not working for you, maybe next time. No, we have to drop everything to help people, and it's just what you got to do. The stuff we're working on is super high profile. You can't afford to mess people around with paperwork and stuff like that. You drop everything, you send them a replacement if they need it, you deal with the other stuff on the back end. So that's
absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I mean, and people don't realize too that there's a lot at stake with these projects. They're multi-million dollar, sometimes multi-hundreds of millions of dollar projects.
Yep.
And stuff has to work, and it's got to work the first time. And if it doesn't work the first time, it better work the second time.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about
the next 10 years too. That's the part that
or longer.
Yeah.
Or longer. I mean, I did the Men in Black ride 23 years ago, and it's all still the same stuff, still playing on the same equipment.
Yep.
And probably the same speakers too, unfortunately. But tell me about the talking about the customer service and integration interface and all that. Tell me about the integration lab that you guys run.
The Attractions Technology Lab. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. We started this. It probably came about during COVID time. It's something that we had been talking about for a while. We're used to, most of our clients and audience are used to the traditional trade show where, Alcorn has a booth and Christie has a booth and Oceaneering has a booth, and, everybody talks about what they have. So we have our black boxes. But in reality, our black boxes don't work unless they're connected to a Christie or are actually in an attraction. And we would frequently get asked that we could do, so we do training here for our gear, but we would frequently get asked if we could do joint trainings where we bring in maybe Wagle or Christie and do trainings. And then Scott had the idea, we kind of brainstormed a little bit more to develop the Attraction Technology Lab, where we take all of the gear and we actually build an attraction. So we do an application that's basically exactly what, or as close to as possible, the technology aspect, not the creative.
We don't have the budget for the creative.
We don't have the budget for it, no. But from a technology standpoint, we rebuild a dark ride, for example, actually as our clients would. And it's a kind of a fun thing because it's all the manufacturers getting together, and we actually experience a lot of the joys and pains that our clients do when we're actually building the attraction. Scott, I thought we almost lost him last year because he spent probably, I don't know, multiple 48-hour days on site. And we know that that's what our clients go through, but it allows all of our collective companies to make our products better together. So we started our first lab. I think it was the first one was October 2021.
Yep.
And then we've grown a lot since. We did one in California, and our largest one was back in November, where we had over 600 people attend. We're getting ready to do a reboot of the Dark Ride Lab that we did in November during InfoComm Week, June 14th, 15th, 16th. And then our big show that will actually expand and redo and have more labs will be back at Oceaneering in November during IAPA Week. And we also have a lot of training, and it's a really unique hands-on technical experience.
Yeah, I really want to make it out there next time you guys do that. It looks really cool.
Thanks.
It is.
I think we have a video package that you guys put together. Let's roll that.
Sure, thanks.
Awesome.
That's our headquarters, and we're back in the Tiki Room.
I can't wait to visit the Tiki Bar next time I'm out there. It looks really cool. Of course, the scene outside the windows are animated, I'm sure.
What are you talking about? It's real.
Yeah.
You're actually in Nassau.
The magic of video.
It looks like really cool. Central Florida, doesn't it?
Sure. So tell me about the 2-day class that you guys run.
So,
yeah, it's
all right. I've been looking for excuse to use this. It's something we
go.
like to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
So talk about it, Scott.
Okay, Lauren. Yeah, we found that probably the best way for people to kind of get hooked and excited about our gear is to just use it. And so a long time ago, a couple decades ago, from the sounds of it, we started doing these training classes, and it was basically just familiarizing people with our show control environment, our ecosystem of products, and showing how to plug the Lego pieces together to actually build attractions. And it has just been immensely popular. So we used to do it in hotel banquet rooms, Orlando, Las Vegas. We kind of got notorious for doing it in Maggiano's here. Everybody was looking forward to the food.
Oh my gosh.
But ever since we moved into this facility a few years ago, we actually built a dedicated lab. That's what you could see in the training, in the little clip there. We have 19 seats. We do probably 6.
We do about 4 a year here in Orlando, and then 2 out in LA, Burbank area.
Yep. So bring people in, we feed them, it's free. Feed them, and then they go home after 2 days excited about actually knowing what our stuff does and even capable of using it to do those things. So knowing what it's like to build an attraction with onboard audio and uncompressed video playback and all that good stuff.
And I also think it's important to know, on the whole aspect of our company culture, our number one priority is always to take care of our people, and that the first line there is our team, and of course our customers are very important to us. So along the lines of support, we don't charge for the training, and when you're here, you're family. So we try and go out of our way to make it very entertaining and fun for our guests. We do bring Maggiano's in. We do a full lunch. We have plenty of snacks. We do breakfast. And we also offer two
Too
days.
many. No, I was going to say too many snacks.
Too many snacks.
Too
You can
many-
never have
too
too
many
many
snacks.
snacks.
Never too many snacks.
And then we also offer a happy hour for those who want to come and hang out in our tiki bar afterwards.
Karaoke.
And you get some free swag if you come
Oh,
to our
wow.
tiki.
You have
These
to.
are our
You
Alcorn-McBride tiki mugs.
have to sing karaoke though. It's a requirement for the.
That's fine.
I'll give you a mug if you don't sing karaoke. It's okay.
I'm perfectly fine singing karaoke. I have my go-to songs. Well, that's cool. Trevor tells me we have some ATL clips. We can run those.
Yeah.
Right now, you're cruising along with Oceaneering's Revolution ride vehicle. This is a state-of-the-art traffic system that uses omnidirectional automated guided vehicle technology to deliver levels of creativeness that are not possible in fixed traffic.
You guys were running that at IAPA last year, right?
It was during IAPA, but it was at Oceaneering's facility, which
Right.
is awesome because it gave us access to these actual trackless vehicle systems that they had set up over there. They're
Yeah.
typically used to using it just to, run it around on a concrete floor, and we actually added environment. We added audio,
Show
visual,
elements.
yeah. So it was
Well, we
very,
should
very cool.
we should talk about getting you some custom music for this year, if you do it again.
Oh, all right.
Let's do it.
See, we have an interested party, interested
Yeah,
partner.
of course, absolutely, yeah. No, would love to help out with that. Looks really cool. I missed the last shuttle for that at IAPA. I really wanted to do that, but I missed out. I feel really bummed out that I missed them. But
We'll show you how to use the latest, greatest bin loop, Andy.
excellent. That's awesome. So who would you say the audience is for ATL and your training classes? Like, I mean, obviously, pretty much anybody who's interested in this can do it, but like what are the cost benefit ratios for you? Like who do you want there?
Yeah, training class, we have a huge variety of people. Some of them are, kind of creative director type. Some of them are project managers or the engineers that are actually managing the technical aspects of ride construction, whether it's control systems or audiovisual, that kind of thing, or animatronics or special effects. So we get those. We get programmers. We get our integration partners come into those classes. The people who actually buy our gear and wire them up into equipment racks and all that stuff and install them. We get students who are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and want to know how the industry works. So we get the whole spectrum for it.
And technical users for the theme parks themselves. We had a large number of those, the technical support teams and that type of audience. And then as far as the Attractions Technology Lab, it's pretty much the same audience. The reason, again, why we're doing this is to help educate and show kind of a full ecosystem. Because a lot of the times our clients, and they don't get to see everything come together until they're actually on the job site trying to put an attraction together. And, it's a lot of stress and under pressure. So we're trying to recreate an environment where they can come and see all of the aspects of the technology working together without the stress of it being their attraction that they're trying to open. So we're hoping that when they see the dark ride, and you probably saw the racks, we have all of the racks of each system broken down. So people can come in and kind of ask questions about problems that they may have encountered or ways that they can make their programs better, smoother, faster. And we have all of the engineers on site from all the manufacturers that can help answer those questions in a non-stressful, hey, this isn't working, we need to open tomorrow type environment.
Yeah, it's the way we do the attraction technology labs is we try to stay authentic to how we actually build the real attractions. And like Lauren was saying, the part that stinks about it is unless you sign 5,000 NDAs and are somehow wrapped up in this multi-year project where we're building these attractions for real, you never get to see it.
Right.
So that's what's different about this is we do it authentically the way we do it in the real world, all in one place. You can come see it. No need to sign an NDA. In fact, we have, like she said, we have the reps from each company on site available to answer questions and show you under the hood. You want to see what the show control programs looks like? Here it is. You want to see what the DSP programming looks like? Here it is. Like, it's all right out there for you to see.
Yeah, you can literally stand in front of the equipment racks while the attraction is running and watch the show unfold right in front of you.
I'll get a little nervous though if you start poking buttons, because you could actually break it.
Sure. Yeah. That's actually one of my favorite things too in the EERs of attractions, watching, all of the LEDs blinking and all the cues being, set off and everything like that. And, it's really cool. It's a beautiful ballet.
It's one of the coolest unseen things in this industry. So
yeah,
we're just trying to make it a little bit more seen. That's all.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. So like, what would you say, what would be the most important thing to impart to creative people to learn about Alcorn-McBride, in terms of like like show control?
In terms of show control, or just Alcorn-McBride in general, is especially if you're coming from the creative side, your job is to create this awesome experience, right? You don't want to think about all the nitty-gritty tools required to do that. And so I guess what I would ask of anybody in that world is to just try to understand that we're basically trying to build that perfect ecosystem so that you can layer on that creative stuff and focus on creative intent. And, think about us as these little Lego blocks where you can just build on those things as you need them. So, and it doesn't matter whether you're technical or creative. ATL and our training classes are a perfect way, or just our office, coming to visit our office, are a perfect way for you to kind of familiarize yourself with that. You don't need to actually build the attraction, just understand what those capabilities are, what those tools are. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be able to understand what you're getting into, before you get into it, for sure. And we talked about integration, like my experience with integration and like going on site and mixing and all that kind of stuff. It's like, creatively, it's just going to be an endless series of painful compromises until you open the attraction. Yeah. And you don't want the hardware to be part of that problem.
Right. Should be part of the solution.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I feel like we really strive to do is we're very relationship based as a company. Mm-hmm. We enjoy going out, meeting with people, customers, talking to them, understanding what challenges they face, what they're being asked to do, and that kind of stuff. And the reason why is because we got some pretty smart people in this building, present company excluded. Whoa. And once we fully understand what the thing is that people are trying to solve, what they're trying to do, we're really good at finding a way to do it. So just a matter of getting to that point. So
yeah, it kind of goes full circle with how Steve started the company and envisioned the longevity of the company. We are a small company. We hire super talented people, present company excluded.
Wow.
I had to put that in there.
That includes both of us. When you say that, right?
The drinks are working.
But we're here. Scott also mentioned the beginning of our company as a consultant type. And even though we're a hardware company and we sell show controllers and bin loops and audio video players, we really are here for support, and that consultative loop is what we love to do. We're in a very niche industry, and having the relationships with our clients, we want them to be able to say, "Hey, we're trying to do this for this attraction," and let our engineering team help figure out how to make that happen. And that's what we're here for. Beyond just making these black boxes, we really like to help make a technology way to make ideas come to life.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest unknown things in the industry for lay people, or civilians, as I call them, people who aren't in the industry, like fans, and also, people, emerging professionals, people trying to they're thinking about maybe I want to get into this themed entertainment business, is that, it's not just like Walt Disney Imagineering making everything, for their attractions and their shows. It's literally hundreds of companies like you that are actually developing the hardware and the software and the technology to make those things possible. And, I think that's one of the fun things about doing the show, is educating people about that aspect of the industry in particular.
Yeah. We like to one of the things we like to do is do outreach to theme park clubs at colleges and stuff. That's one of the first things we say to them is,
that's cool.
hey, yeah, you wanna work for Disney, Universal, whatever, great. But there's like 500 other companies that they actually really depend on. So like those aren't your only options, guys. So.
Right. And generally you're not going to get hired straight into WDI or Universal Creative. You're going to have to have worked at one of those companies before. It's sort of like the farm leagues in a way, sort of, for getting into, becoming a senior executive creative VP of a portfolio manager or whatever at Imagineering.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, so tell me the story about the tiki bar. I mean, I have a tiki bar. You have a tiki bar. Your tiki bar looks like it's a lot more high tech than my tiki bar.
Well, it's a pretty fun story. When we used to have two separate offices. So we had the engineering and operations office about a mile down the road, and then our warehouse and assembly and test was over by the airport. And for years we had been looking for an opportunity where we can merge the two offices into one, so we could all work together. And then this building that we're in came to market, and it's literally about a mile away from where our operation engineering office was. And it was repossessed by the government. So when we came in and walked through the building, it was literally an empty shell with things ripped out of the ceiling and ripped out of off the floor, and it was kind of a mess. And we walked into this room, which looked like it might have been a lobby or maybe a large conference room. And we were kind of walking around with Steve Alcorn and Justin Ruka. He's one of our lead sales engineers. He said to Steve, "You know what, this should be a tiki bar." And Steve went, "Yes, it should." And we've added a lot to it, and it's just become a home for us. And we love to entertain clients, and we have a lot of fun in here ourselves. So it's a great way to show off our products. That's the main reason why we have the tiki bar.
Sure.
We have a ride player, and we have a fully themed show. We push buttons, and everything runs off a ride player, a bin loop, and a V16.
Fantastic.
So yes, it's just a demo room. We certainly do not use it for anything else. It's just a demonstration.
It's a demo room.
That's awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to see it. I'll be out at IAPA this year. So wrapping up, let's talk about the future of Alcorn-McBride and the companies. Like what do you see as what's next? What's the next steps?
What's next? Well,
if you can talk about it.
Sure. I can talk about it in general
We use
terms.
that again.
Talk about it.
I would just say that internally, we as a company, we are always, despite what people see on the outside as far as products that we're releasing, we're always internally working on our own ecosystem of tools so that we can be nimble and adapt to basically what our clients' needs. So the truth is, I can't tell you what's next because it depends on people outside of this building and what kinds of attractions they want to build and what kind of crazy things they want them to do.
Sure.
But the nice thing is they're talking to us about these things. And as long as we have this kind of arsenal of engineers and cool tools that they're developing, we can be nimble and react to those needs by the time the attraction actually gets built. So that's what's next for us, is just being ready for it, whatever's coming down the pipe. So,
and it's always exciting because, all these, fantastically talented people are coming up with all these crazy new ideas for your fantastically talented people to come up with solutions to implement them.
Yeah.
And we're certainly growing. So if anybody out there who is looking for a very cool place to work as an engineer, reach out to one of us.
That's awesome. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out to chat with us about what you guys have been doing and what you guys, your awesome tiki bar and everything like that. I mean, which I can't wait to visit. And again, we have to talk about getting some custom music for you guys.
Yes, that'd
Sounds
be great.
good.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.